Hello everyone, my name is Javier Gomez, member of the UDS technical team, and in this video I'm going to show you how to configure an RDS server with UDS so we can give Windows applications to our users. As you can see, we already have a 2019 Windows server with of course a name, a domain, and a static IP, as you can see right here. The installation of the RDS server is going to be done with an administrator user of the domain or another user that has the adequate permissions. So let's start. The first thing that we're going to do is going to install our RDS actor. Let's put the IP of our RDS server, of our UDS server. Let's enter the main page and let's enter with an administrator user, or the super user of course. In this case we are going to use the super user. So once inside, let's enter the downloads tab and let's click on the RDS actor setup.exe. This will be the one that we use for Windows, of course. Let's save it. We'll start the download. So once we have it downloaded, let's enter the download tab and we can launch it. Select the language that you want, and will be a simple configuration. Let's agree. Where do we want the actor to be installed? In this case we're going to leave it by default and we'll just install it very fast. Once the installation is finished, let's launch it. Okay, so now as we see, we have the RDS actor launched. Let's start configuring it. The first thing, the UDS server, in this case is going to be the IP of our UDS server. The authenticator that we want, you have more than one choice of course. You have the one that you have created or the super user. In our case, we're going to use the super user, that's administration. Then the username and the password, and ready. Everything else we can leave it by default. Let's click in register with UDS. Okay, great. Let's test the configuration. Great again. So now we can close. The next thing that will be to install the RDS services. Let's manage. Let's add role and features, and let's start with the installation. We can click on next here. Let's click on remote desktop service installation. Click on next. Here we'll check the standard deployment and we want the service-based desktop one. So the session 1, let's click on next. Okay, next again. Here in our case we will choose our server of course. Now for the web access server, the same. We do not have to install it, so do not check that box on the top. Let's click on next. And the session host, the same. Let's click on next. Okay, now we have the configuration that we just done. And we'll click on restart if needed. And let's click on deploy. This will take a while and we'll come back when it's finished. And ready. Now all three are finished. As you can see here, all three succeeded. We can click on close and let's start its configuration. Let's go to remote desktop services, collections, and let's see what we're going to have to do now. First thing will be create a new collection. Click here. Let's give it a name. In this case UDS, something simple. Where do we want it to be? Let's leave it by default, so all the users of the domain can't enter, and UDS will be the one that filters. In this case, we'll not check the profile disks, and we will create the collection. It shouldn't be long for this process. I'm finished. Great. Let's click and close. And now let's enter the collection that we just created. Here in task, we will go to public and new application. That, of course, in this case is going to be our RDS actor. In the case that you can see here that you can't see it in the list of applications, you will only have to click add and show windows where you have downloaded the UDS actor. In my case, program files, and let's click RDS actor. Open, and we can click on next now, and let's public this application. Great, it's now public, so let's close, and now let's edit the properties of our application. The first thing, we do not need the web access, so we can click in no here. Then in parameters, very important, we need to check allow any command parameters. That will help us a lot to not have any errors in the future. The user assignment will leave it by default. The file type will leave it by default also. Let's click on apply and OK. So once we have the properties edited, let's edit the properties of the collection. And user groups will leave it by default. Here in session, it's a bit important. Let's give it some time. When the session has been disconnected, let's give it some time so that the session is terminated. In this case, we put a minute. Everything else, in this case, is by default. And the user profile list by default also. Let's click on apply. And OK. And ready. Now we will have installed and configured our RDS server, so our users can have their Windows applications with UDS. Thank you very much for your time. Hope this can help you. Bye.